Shalom. Call all y'all about Shem Shah. Shalom to the left. In this video, I just want to go in on how the Most High bringing judgment upon these nations. And the main ones He's getting is the ones that mainly had a hand in our captivity. Because you have people be like, oh, your own people sold you into slavery. Like, nah, our own people ain't sell us into no slavery. There's some fucking Hamites. Nah, I was just looking at some different stuff online when I seen this video. Let me go to it. And I'm just scroll through the other ones I got queued up. Let's say Sudan disaster. And over there's some floods and shit going on over there. Let me skip past this. Now, you Akim, I'm sure you know about the Table of Nations and know who was who. Well, Sudan go back to them Philistines, which ultimately go back to them Canaanites, them Hamites, which our people was warring with them also, which I mentioned in the previous video about our people fighting with Amalek all the time. They was also fighting with them Hamites. With the story with Samson, David, different forefathers that was fighting against them. And I'm going to read on into this, I'm going to just get into it. Now, let me find exactly where I was at. Find that name. Oh, and speaking of the Table of Nations, see, I just clicked on this. I ain't know all this was actually at the bottom of this. But the Table of Nations. I said, according to the Table of Nations in Genesis, chapter 10, verse 15 through 19, it said Canaan was an ancestor of the tribes who originally occupied the ancient land of Canaan, I should say. Because that land over there wasn't called Africa. Like, people go, oh, we're going back to Africa. Like, no, you don't even know the name of the land. You got to do your homework, your research, man. Before that land was conquered, it was called something else. And it actually was split up before it became Africa as a whole. So people be talking about that Mother Africa stuff and all that. That wasn't even the name. That name come from a Roman general. But anyway, it says, Canaan was an ancestor of the tribes who originally occupied the land of Canaan, all the territory from Sidon to Hamath in the north to Gaza in the southwest, and Lasha in the southeast. This territory was known as the Levant. It's roughly the areas of modern-day Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, western Jordan, western Syria. Canaan's firstborn son was Sidon, which I'm going to go back into this because I was looking at something we talk about the Philistines and who they actually go back into. Because they were trying to give me the runaround, and then there's certain stuff I got to sign up for and all that just to find out what I was looking for. But hey, through the Spirit, I found it. So the water y'all about Shem Shah. It says, who shares his name with the Phoenician city of Sidon in present-day Lebanon. His second son was Hoth. Canaan's descendants, according to the Hebrew Bible, include the Sidonians, the Hittites, the Jebusites, Amorites, Girgasites, Hivites, Archites, Sinites, Alvadites, Zemorites, and Helmathites. Now I'm going to go back all the way into this real quick. Now it says, right here, it says Canaan, according to the book of Genesis in the Hebrew Bible, was the son of Ham. And likewise, Hakam tells that Canaan is the father of the Sudan. It says sub-Saharan Africans. So that name, Africa, that name ain't coming into play. So let's go into, let me find the exact date. Because I want to give the facts. There ain't no opinions. Like they said in New Orleans, no opinions. Nah, you know, find that exact. It says the word Africa came into existence in the late 17th century, so the name really not even that old. It says initially it was used to only refer to the northern part of the continent around the time the continent had been colonized by who? You know, Esau stuck his red foot over there. It says, and the Europeans ruled over his people as slaves. They influenced the change of the identity Kebulon to his present name. And it was other names. See, they ain't go all the way back into it, but it's actually the land of Canaan. And then before that, it was actually Ham. So Esau, they know exactly who the hell we are. They know who them Hamites are. And the Most High know who they are. That's why he's jacking their ass up right now. And those are what you would call them Philistines, not no Palestinians, the Philistines. No, it says, let me go into this real quick and I will put a video. It said the word Palestinian derives from the Philistines. It says the people who were not indigenous to Canaan, because those were the actual people. It said, but who had gained control of the coastal plains of what are now Israel and Gaza for a time. It says, according to ancient Egyptian records of the period which is first written, mention of the Philistines reached the region in around 12th century BCE, which the archaeological record seems to confirm. Esau, they read these scriptures. These Edomites, they actually read these scriptures. Then they, what they do? They go look up the location of that area and go send these archaeologists out there. That's why they'll never let one of our people be an archaeologist. Because I remember I was in elementary school and I was trying to get into that shit so bad. As I got a little bit older, then it's like I hit a brick wall every time I try to figure out how I can get into it. They mainly don't really want our people to get in there. And the ones that do get in there, they put a gag order on their ass, and if they tell too much, they end up being wiped out. But Esau go dig up all this stuff, dig up bones, artifacts, scrolls, stamps, so to speak. That's how people use stamps. Like in ancient times when they sent out scrolls and different documents or different sheets that they use scribes to write down information on. So they know who is who, and like I say, the Most I know who is who too. And that's why he's jacking them up the way he's jacking them up right now amongst these other nations. Now I said Sudan disaster, severe flood, at least 86 dead, and dozens injured. Now the number actually is way higher than that. But the news, they only gonna put so much.
يا أخي ما عندنا الناس